every German Shepherd has got a lame left back foot. Do you understand where I'm getting at? We can say that if we look at statistics, statistics tells us there is a probability of all of this happening. But you and I know that for such a thing to happen, by chance, by random event, is impossible. In other words, when we're talking about statistics, when you go beyond a certain level of probability, we're talking about the impossible. For such an event to happen where everybody's meeting at Checkers with all these weird things, and not only that, add another million variables and another million variables to that, you will still not understand the variables we are talking about in creating just one system. And here we are saying is 10 systems developed all together. Now somebody may say, well, maybe, by some chance event, these millions and billions of variables actually did take place, and one system did develop. The only problem is, for this one system to develop, it would require all of the other 9 systems to be in place for this one to develop. But those other 9 systems would not have been able to develop in the absence of this one. So what we're saying is, they would have all had to develop spontaneously and simultaneously. And the level of complexity we are talking about makes it impossible for this to have been a chance event. So the next time you go and you look in the mirror, the very fact that there is this complex individual staring at you is proof that this individual was the product of intelligent design, was the product of creation, and therefore there must be a creator. So God must exist by the process of observation and deduction. Now let us take these 2 principles further. The principles of evolution and the principles of intelligent design. Let us look at intelligent design first. We are told that God created the earth. God created the earth in the knowledge that He was going to create mankind. He prepared the world for man. That is what we are told. Now the question is, has God given us signs to show us that this is indeed the case, that when God was creating the earth, He actually already knew what He was going to create in the future? When we study the world in which we live, we find that the foodstuffs that God had prepared for mankind in anticipating man has certain features that make it impossible but to conclude that this is in fact the truth. God, for example, created certain foodstuffs that closely resemble parts of the human body, but not only that. The part of the body that it resembles is also the part of the body for which it is beneficial. Look at this example. Here is the example of the carrot. You can see the pupil at the middle. You can see the radiating lines of the radius around it. And you can see the rest of the eyeball around it. And the carrot is helpful in vision, in night vision. Are we going to say that this was just another chance event, another coincidence? How far are we going to take this theory of coincidences? Are we going to say there's millions and billions of coincidences took place, and here we have another coincidence? What about the walnut? If we look at the picture on the left, we have a picture of the human brain looked at the surface. Next to it is the picture of the walnut. And what does this show us? This is a picture that no one can deny expresses almost perfectly what the surface of the brain looks like. And if we look at it from the side, we also have the cerebral hemispheres on the top with the cerebellum at the bottom, and the bottom picture shows the brain and the walnut with a cap on the top. And what do we know about the walnut? It looks like the brain. Even the wrinkles and the folds are like those of the neocortex, and we now know that the walnut helps develop more than 36 neurotransmitters which are important for brain function. Is this also another coincidence? You see, the thing about God is, when God is giving us the signs, He doesn't just give us one or two, He gives us so many that we cannot help but come to the conclusion that this was just not coincidence. Let's go through some other examples. Here's an example of the heart cut across and a tomato cut across. And what do we see? They look exactly the same. If the heart was a picture in color, you would see it is red in color. The tomato has 4 chambers and is red. The heart has 4 chambers and is red. All of the research shows tomatoes are loaded with lycopene, and these are indeed pure heart and blood food. This is the picture of the pear on the left and the uterus on the right. Notice the similarity. Now, avocados and pears target the health and function of the womb and cervix of the female. They look like these organs. Today's research shows that when a woman eats 1 avocado a week, it helps to balance her hormones, it sheds unwanted birth weight, and prevents cervical cancers. But what's more interesting is that it takes exactly 9 months to grow an avocado from blossom to ripened fruit. There are over 14,000 photolytic chemical constituents of nutrition in each one of these foods, and they are beneficial. And here we have it, the uterus and the pear. This is a picture of the pancreas, an illustration of the pancreas and the sweet potato. Sweet potatoes look like the pancreas and actually are useful in pancreatic function. The olives closely resemble the ovaries, and the olives are known to be very useful in the functioning of the ovaries. The kidney bean and the kidneys, look how closely they resemble each other. Kidney beans actually heal and help kidney function. They maintain, and yes, they look like kidneys. Then we have the fig and the testes. Now, the diagram on the upper left shows figs growing on the tree. And what we notice is that figs tend to, when they grow on the tree, they tend to hang in twos, just like the testes in the human being. And the testes is full of seeds, as is the fig, which when cut you will see is full of seeds. And figs help to increase the mobility of male spermatozoa and increases the number. And this helps to overcome male sterility. Then we have the picture of the bone and celery. Celery looks very much like bones, and these foods such as celery, rhubarb and bok specifically target bone strength. Bones are 23% sodium, and these foods are also 23% sodium. If we don't have enough sodium in our diet, the body pulls it out from the bones, thus making them weak. These foods help to replenish the sodium of the bones.